When you think of Australia, do you picture a laid-back surfer, a rugged outback hero, or someone offering you a Vegemite sandwich with a grin? And what do these images say about who we really are? Good morning everyone, my name is Hayley Watson and today I will be discussing the Australian identity, which is shaped by mateship, humour and a deep connection to our land. Australians are often seen as friendly, down-to-earth and resilient with a love for the outdoors. A typical Australian is commonly stereotyped as a laid-back bloke who enjoys a beer, helps their mates and isn't afraid to speak their mind. While these traits can reflect aspects of genuine Australian culture, the stereotype can be outdated, failing to capture the diversity and complexity of modern Australia. This idea of national identity is explored in texts like the film Crocodile Dundee and the songs Down Under and True Blue, which each offer different perspectives on what it means to be Australian. The movie Crocodile Dundee presents a humour yet stereotypical portrayal of Australia and Australians, highlighting traits such as ruggedness, friendliness and a deep connection to the outback. The film introduces Mick Dundee as a bushman who wrestled a croc and lived to tell the tale, representing the mythic Aussie larrikin, laid back, self-reliant and resourceful. Cultural values such as mateship, resilience and a suspicion of authority underpin the narrative, contrasting Australian simplicity with American urban complexity. The film opens with Sue Charlton, a New York journalist, arriving in the Northern Territory to meet Dundee, establishing a classing fish out of water setup. As the plot progresses, the setting shifts to New York, flipping the dynamic and showing Dundee as the outsider. The film closes with a romantic and comedic scene in a subway station where Mick walks across the heads of a crowded audience to reach Sue, symbolising a bridging of cultures. This resolution reinforces the theme that authentic Australian values, directness, charm and openness can thrive even in unfamiliar environments. The song Down Under by Men at Work presents a complex, mostly positive yet satirical representation of Australia, blending national pride with subtle critique. Australia is portrayed as a laid-back, unique land with iconic cultural symbols such as seen in the line, "He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich," referencing a distinctly Australian food to build a sense of national identity. The repeated chorus, "I come from a land down under," uses repetition and nationalistic tone to celebrate Australian origins, positioning both local and international audience to see Australia as exotic, adventurous and proud. However, irony is woven through the lyrics. Phrases like "where women gloat and men plunder" exaggerate stereotypes, hinting at the colonial past and gendered cliches, which challenge listeners to reflect on these myths. The use of colloquial language, can't you hear the thunder, connects with the Aussie larrikin voice and reinforces values of freedom, nature and resilience. Symbolism is also strong in the imagery of a fried out combi and head full of zombie, reflecting both the relaxed lifestyle and possible critiques of complacency or cultural loss. These language features position the audience to view Australia with a mix of admiration and critical awareness, ultimately celebrating its identity while encouraging reflection on the myths that shape it. The song True Blue by John Williamson presents a heartfelt and positive representation of Australian identity, celebrating values like loyalty, honesty and mateship. The phrase "true blue" itself is Australian slang for someone genuine and loyal, positioning the audience to admire and aspire to these qualities. Through the rhetorical questions like, "Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight?" the song invites listeners to reflect on what it means to be a real Australian, reinforcing the cultural belief in standing by others. The use of simple conversational language such as "fair dinkum" and "how fair dinkum can you go" enhances the authenticity and connects with the everyday Australian, positioning the audience to see these qualities as part of national pride. Repetition of the phrase "true blue" throughout the song creates an emotional pull, anchoring the message in traditional values. The song structure, which moves from questioning to affirmation, mirrors a personal journey of discovering national identity, making the audience feel included and validated. Symbolism in phrases like "just another orphan kid" and "battered wife" also briefly touches on social struggles, suggesting that being Australian means enduring hardship with resilience. Altogether, the song represents Australia in a sincere and idealised way, celebrating unity, honesty, and a deep emotional connection to the land and its people. Altogether, Crocodile Dundee, Down Under, and True Blue paint a picture of Australia that celebrates national pride, humour, and honesty, but they also rely heavily on stereotypes. While many Australians feel proud of the spirit and warmth shown in these portrayals, others may feel these representations are simplistic, ignoring the country's cultural diversity and modern realities. Although these texts capture the hearts of some traditional values, they often present an unrealistic and exaggerated version of who we are. As a nation, it is important to recognise the value of these iconic works while also embracing more accurate and inclusive representations of Australian identity. Thank you for listening.